guys, Miss Julie here. Mr. Neil's coming around. Thanks for coming to the class tonight. We did do some reset with our camera work, and we have our computer set up to monitor the comments. You'll want to put on the live on that so that we can see what you guys are saying. Today we are set to do the wrist lock flow. It's not going to be as sweat intensive as it is going to be cerebral, so our warm-up is just going to be a little bit light. So first and foremost, come to attention, bow, ready position. All right, we're just going to run in place just a few seconds. Really just get yourself moving. If you haven't been doing the karate classes, I know a lot of karate people have been doing these classes, which is awesome. I really love seeing you guys in them. But for my jiu-jitsu people who are a little bit cold, it is okay. As I said, we're going to do a lot on the wrists, all right? So real quick, because all of the wrist lock flows moves actually can be takedowns and throws. If you do have a partner to work with, we are going to take it all the way to that level today. So we are going to do a little bit of practice on the falls, especially for people who haven't done too many of them. So there's going to be our side fall and our back fall. We're going to start all the way down to squatting. If you're going to your left, you're going to bring your left leg across, roll hips, shoulders, smack down, keep your chin tucked, all right? So come up a couple times, side fall, and side fall. All right, now right side, same exact thing, over, right leg across, hips, shoulders, smack, chin tuck, come it back up, and side fall. And side fall. Beautiful. All right, back falls work the exact same way. I'm going to do it starting once with my back to you and then sideways. We're going to squat down. Here we go, butt to shoulders, keeping your chin tucked, and both hands are going to smack out, roll straight back. All right, now I'm just going to go sideways so that you can see how it works from the side. But for your squat, just roll down, and come back up, and roll it. Beautiful. All right, one of the other things I really want to get into is we want to be loose in the wrist from the shoulders all the way down. So first, just move your arms, punching side to side. Put your arms out wide, big circles, going forward. Going backwards. Small circles going forward. And going backwards. Now if you're really, really super coordinated, one hand going forward, one hand going backwards. And swap. Bring your hands forward and back. Nice. All right, now take your hands, bend your wrists down, circle them around.
Hi, Nathan.
Huh?
Hi, Nathan. Hi, Nathan.
Hi, Nathan.
Hi, Cynthia.
Woo, Cynthia, so good to see you. All right, change directions. Now take one hand, press all the way down, and then flip it backwards. And bring the other hand, press all the way down. And then flip it backwards. All right, gorgeous. So, I need Mr. Neil. So, as you notice today, we are using t-shirts. We really want you guys to be able to see our arms so that as we're going through this whole wrist lock flow. If you have a partner at home, practice on your partner. If you don't have a partner at home, you have a large stuffed animal. Miss Jennifer Dorsey did this on her stuffed animal. That's awesome. You can practice on, a lot of memes have shown up on the internet where people are stuffing gis. You can practice stuffing a gi with a towel. If this is new to you, couple of things on the reason these are throws. These are not throws because I picked my partner up and threw them to the ground. These are throws because we take the joint to the point where there's so much pain that's relieve pressure from the joint, the person literally throws themselves to the ground. So for safety purposes, if you have never had this done, first and foremost, practice and feel where the pain comes in. Tap when you feel pain, and communicate with your partner. And when you're the person setting this, for example, if I'm going to set a lock on Mr. Neal, if I've never done it before and he's never done it before, I'm not going to just wrench right into it. I'm going to set it nice and smooth and add the pressure slowly until it gets to the point where he can't take it anymore, and then move into the throw for safety purposes until you get used to these moves, especially if you've been practicing on something like a doll, to learn exactly where they go for your partner's safety. All right?
Hi, Jennifer.
First and foremost, for our wrist lock flow, there are 12 moves. We're going to go through as many as we can tonight, but we're going to show you how the final ending one for each one is. The flow is a progression to teach you all the different locks, but we don't normally get an opportunity to go into how these can be fight enders, and to show you where they would go to all the way to the point of real submission. So it does start off the thought process that an attacker reaches out and grabs. So basically what's going to happen here, there's a couple of different things. Neal's either grabbing me to take me away and kidnap me, grab me to pull me into his other hand so that we get those opposite forces attract, which is really also not good for me. Or he's literally just getting distance to go in and just overrun me if this were JuJitsu, maybe to even turn this into a throw, to come in underneath my hips or something like that. So I really don't want any of that to happen. The very first thing, for those of you who have taught kids, you know, what is that? Somebody grabs you? That's a present. That is now my hand. So I'm going to grab his hand. Very, very important that you notice that what I'm grabbing is his hand, not his wrist. I don't want to put a bracelet on to protect the wrist. This is the joint I want to manipulate. So I grab his hand. This is called a Kotick Adachi, which means wrist crush. So the way I'm going to crush his wrist is my hand, which is now pointing to the floor. I'm going to turn it up with the thumb closest to my shoulder so I can wave to myself. Bring my pinkies over the back of his wrist. So I'm bending my wrist, going right across that joint right there to get in this opening right here. And as I step backwards and pull down to my hip, I set this lock and basically make kneel down to me. So I bring him all the way to the floor. If I do this really dramatically, I cannot necessarily step back. I can bring my knee into his face. So as a fight ender, I'm pulling him all the way down to the floor with force and power that he doesn't really want me to continue on anymore. As my arm goes in between there, it hurts a lot. I am separating those joints right there. So one more time, he grabs, I trap, wave to myself, pinky side comes across the wrist, step back and pull to my hip. As I'm pulling down, he's coming with me in that motion, and he's going to follow along wherever the wrist goes. All right. Number 2 is called Kotick Adachi. It's also called payback, and you'll get to do this one to me. Kotick Adachi, if we did it from the flow, he's going to set the Kotick Adachi. I'm going to tap when it hurts. All right?
Go ahead.
All right. Mr. Neal is going to do what we call the butterfly of doom. All the Gaishis have this. He's going to put both of his thumbs right along the bones of my hand so that they're pointing up. If he opens his hands up, he makes like a butterfly on the back of my hand. All right? So he's going to grip the handle of the thumb and the handle on the hands. He's going to push elbow in, flatten everything. See this nice, pretty square my hand makes? The tighter everything is, the quicker the lock happens. We're going to scoot back so I don't fall right onto the hard part of the floor. And as he pulls away and turns my thumb towards his shoulder, I'm going to get so much pressure on this that I'm going to go to the floor. All right. Kotick Adachi, Kotick Adachi. Some of the things to really make sure you set this well are making that square out of their arm. If I've got Neal out here, there's a lot of pressure. His elbow can turn in, and it can relieve the pressure on the wrist, and he can really turn. And yeah, it's not going to force him to go to the ground. When I make everything nice and tight, see how his shoulder comes down? That's about as far as the pressure as he can take. without everything starting to hit those nerves. So the next thing is for the knees to buckle. So once I start doing this, I want you guys to really watch his legs. He's not really going to fall, but I'm going to show you how we know we set this well. Everything sympathetically relieves pressure. So he's loosening up other joints to relieve the pressure. And that's what turns this into a throw, because as soon as his knees are compromised, I can bring him right down to the floor. And it doesn't take a lot of force, all right? What if my partner knows a little bit about this and he can withstand it? Number 3, reinforce Kotick Adachi. He's really pulled everything in. Neil's really strong. I can't bend his arm. So I let go with the hand from my butterfly. My left one is still on his hand. I let go with my right hand that's on his pinky side. I come up underneath, and now I wrap around the back of his hand, and I'm literally going to lock him to the floor. If you guys know Fighting 10, this is the throw, reinforced Kotick Adachi. So because I can't overpower all the muscles here, he's stronger than me, he's a bigger attacker, I just bend the way his whole arm wants to bend, and then I just help everything keep going to the floor. Hi, Joel! Alright, so number 3, reinforce Kotick Adachi. I attack Neil. He does Kotick Adachi. He does Kotick Adachi. I'm super strong. I can beat him every day. That's the whole point. He comes in, he wraps everything up, and walks me all the way to the floor. Alright. If I do not fall on this, I will lose my arm. So I don't have very many choices here other than to go ahead and go. Because I can stand there, but it literally is going to circle my arm around until I fall off. Alright, now we're getting into Ura Kotick Adachi.
Hi, Emily.
Ura Kotick Adachi. What that means is for our Kotick Adachis, we made a butterfly. I put one thumb pointing up, and I made a butterfly around his hand. So we're all waving at each other, okay? Ura Kotick Adachi. My hands are upside down. So that's literally what it means from here. My butterfly is now like a moth flying downwards. Okay. So to get to Ura Kotick Adachi, if I'm already in number 3, my left hand is holding on to his hand with my butterfly. I've reinforced. I let go with the one that's wrapped all the way around. I turn my left hand over, so now it is grouping on the pinky side. So thumb pointing up, thumb pointing down. That makes it Ura Kotick Adachi. I literally bring my thumb from here. I just hook. I make a hook out of it. This is the fulcrum. I'm going to bend Neil's hand over my thumb. So it's across the back of his wrist. Bend his hand down. Bring my elbow and his elbow up. And straighten everything until he doesn't like that anymore. One more time. From reinforced. Let go right hand. Turn left hand over. Thumb comes across the back of his wrist. Bend his hand over my thumb. Lift everything up. Now, that's not so much going to turn into a throw like what we were talking about, but if I kept bringing him over and dropped to my knees, I could flip him right over my shoulder while separating a few of his arm bones. So, there's a lot of ways he can go to the ground. So I'm going to do this one more time because my advanced JuJitsu people, we did have some changes on this, and so this is one that we've been having a lot of trouble with. Reinforce Kotick Adachi. Let go right hand. Turn left hand over. Thumb on the back of the wrist. Bend everything over. Go to the elbow. When he taps, this one is called unnatural Ura Kotick Adachi. It's not really very easy to do. Natural Ura Kotick Adachi. Number 5, I roll my thumb around so now it's on the inside of his wrist. So my right hand just rolls to the inside. My left hand stays exactly where it is. We're doing the same movement we did for number 2. See how I make my nice square? Only my hands are just in a little bit of a different position. I have my upside down butterfly, and I'm going to turn it the same way that we would for Kotick Adachi. So again, once he's twisted, if I keep going, he would go to the ground, like we talked about. Alright, so from unnatural, straighten his arm, slide around, making my thumb a fulcrum. My butterfly's upside down, make everything nice and tight, and that just wraps into the ground. Okay, so step by step by step by step. For your information for JuJitsu people, test-wise, I know we don't know when we're coming back, but just so how it breaks down, if you were testing for your yellow belt, you do 1 through 3. Kotick Adachi, Kotick Adachi, reinforced Kotick Adachi. If you are yellow belt testing for orange, you will do these 2 plus 1 more. So we have gone up to number 5. We're almost all the way to the orange belt requirements. I'm just going to want to go through. All right, Mr. Neal's answering your question, but I'm going to show you all of these in the flow real quick. All right, Mr. Neal attacks me. I take his arm, Kotick Adachi, reach all the way across, make the pretty square, Kotick Adachi. Let go with my right hand, reinforce Kotick Adachi. Let go with my right hand, turn my left hand over, hook, and straighten. Kotick Adachi unnatural. Slide around the inside of his wrist, keeping my left hand in place. Bend everything tight. Kotick Adachi natural. Now we're getting to what's called Tekubi Dori. If you've ever seen the pacifier, it's Mr. Neal's favorite move. This is what we're going to do for that, and this is the last one if you're testing for your orange belt. I let go with my left hand because we're going to end up standing next to each other. So I hold on to his wrist with my right hand. Left hand, I'm going to come grab his elbow. What I'm doing here is so that while I move, he doesn't decide to take advantage of this opportunity to punch me in the face. So I'm going to cycle his arm so that his punch can't come across. Stand up next to him. We're just spinning so we're still facing the camera. And we're going to come shoulder to shoulder. I am on his right side. My left hand comes underneath, over the back of his hand. Right hand comes right over the top. I am layering. All right? When I pull down, yes, this is a super easy one to go from it hurts just a little bit to your partner will hit you. So when you pull down, especially on number 7, be very conscientious of doing this with a lot of control and nice and slow. Because I'm putting a lot of pressure right on this joint and I really can break his wrist. I'm going to bring his hand down towards me and bring his thumb towards my face. And he will tap. All right, so that is Tekubi Dori, fingers coming in. Number 6, if I did bring this all down, I would literally crush his hand. And remember that going to his knees, the kneeling that we did for Kotick Adachi, he's going to do the same thing here. Turn the fingers out, bring that same cupping of hands over the top, and this time I'm literally just shearing the hand. It's just like what we did on reinforced Kotick Adachi. If he doesn't go to the floor, I'm separating and bones are coming apart and we're basically just, breaking down the chicken. I pull straight down. Very, very, very controlled with this one. As soon as your partner taps, stop. But if we didn't stop, he's going to go very violently straight down to the floor. His knees are going down. All right. That's 1 through 7. We're going to move right back to a Kotick Adachi. Mr. Neal knows this one, so I'm going to let him get a little bit of revenge on me. All right. So, number 1, Kotick Adachi. Number 2, Kotick Adachi. Number 3, reinforced. Number 4, Kotick Adachi. Right there. Spin it over.
Right there. Yeah.
Straight.
Yeah.
Nice.
Not bad.
Right there.
Yeah. Right there.
Good. All right. Pass fire.
Yeah. Oh, we got to turn around.
All right. Beautiful. All right, so basically, for whatever weird reason, I ended up standing up on this, or he didn't want to wait till I went to my face down for setting this one. Neal's literally going to pull my arm straight behind, put my fingers up against his chest, and do a Kotick Adachi. Any of you guys who have done 6 from the front have done this Kotick Adachi. We're just getting to it a different way. He's bringing my hand up straight behind, fingers on the chest. He's going to bend the elbow and keep my hand all tight. And if he needs to, he can do the bow we do from 6 from the front. But if he set this well because he's so close to me, do you see the bend in my arm? he does not need to get all the way to the back. So as we're coming from Tekubi Dori with my fingers out, Neil literally just swings my arm straight out behind me, traps it, bent at the elbow, bent at the wrist and the elbow, flat against his chest. He's going to make that 90-degree angle with my elbow and compress everything. One more time. Fingers out to Tekubi Dori. He's going to crush my wrist this way by doing a Kotick Adachi. Again, if I'm super strong and I brace the muscles and I make a fist and I keep my elbow back, I might be able to prevent that wrist bending. So to reinforce this by me bracing with my thumbs and my fist against his chest, he's going to let go with the one at my elbow, wrap all the way around, and come up behind and reinforce and break my, yep.
Hopefully you can see that. Yep.
Yep, and
yeah, it doesn't take much.
and that's going to then twist this on the fourth plane. So what we're doing anytime we reinforce, and like when we're making the angle, we want to bring as few joints into play to protect. Our body is a natural suspension system that's going to relieve pressure at each elbow, at each joint. In this case, the elbow for the wrist lock. So if we can take the elbow out of play, we can attack the wrist better. If for whatever reason I get all the way into my Kotick Adachi, sorry, had to get it all the way set up the right way. And he makes that fist and protects his wrist, and I'm not strong enough to get against it. What I'm doing when I reinforce, because he's got everything nice and straight with the fist and his muscles, what I'm doing when I reinforce is I come in and now I'm bringing it back down to being on just this plane and taking the elbow out of play again. And I'm using leverage of his own arm against him. So what I can do once I've done this is take this hand out of play, and he's going to start going to his knees again because I've gotten the elbow out of the equation.
One thing, guys, just to notice is all this stuff that we've been doing, you notice we've been standing at a little bit of a distance. That's just for the camera so that you can see everything that we're doing. Most of this stuff is going to be done really close in. But like I said, just like I said, so that's why we're way far apart.
The closer the connection you have on this, the less joints that are in play and the less he's going to be able to protect. So we come in from number 8, Kotick Adachi. Number 9, reinforced Kotick Adachi. All right? Okay, so perfect. Now we get to the fun ones. We have gone all the way through to our green belts. Now we're going to be our most advanced ones. These ones are a little bit complex. They're really kind of fun. Let me even look up. I've got to look at the list of Japanese names because Mr. Ken or Hanshi Baker calls them cast out and reel in. So we're moving into what's called Yukichi Gai and Ura Yukichi Gai. And then the finger one is Yukichi Gai finger. So these get really super fun. So 9, 10, and 11. This is really getting into the plane of a lot of fine control. I've got Neil's elbow up high. I've got his arm. His arm wants to be turned all this way. He's nice and tattooed, so we can follow the lines of all this ink to figure out exactly where he wants to go. I'm going to twist everything in a way it doesn't want to go. So I'm going to take the plane of his arm where it wants to be. I'm going to turn the thumb towards me. I'm going to leave everything up nice and tight. And so what I've done in this is I've gotten so much strain down his forearm that any motion in the wrist is going to hit those nerves. So what we call the cast out, once I've turned everything towards it, I'm going to make my hands in that butterfly again while my thumbs are down. I'm going to try to bring this pinky and Neil's hand back all the way up and around and see if he can touch the back of his head. I'm really only going to move it about that much before he's done. But if he continues to go, we're going to make it happen. So I'm going to hold on to his hand and I'm going to pull the pinky side back. He's got a couple of options. He taps or his nose is going to hit the floor, which is the casting out. So I'm going to make a cast motion with my hand and tip everything. Now the reel in I take my left finger, remember our joint, in between those bones on his wrist, and I'm going to pull down towards me as I lift his arm up and bring him back up. And he's going to follow this because it doesn't feel very good to him. So I'm pulling down against the joint and raising his hand up where the elbow is. Doesn't feel very good, does it, Mr. Neal?
No, ma'am.
Then I reach up, make my butterfly on the back of his hand again. I'm only going to hold on to the pinky side. I'm really going to hold on to the pinky. So thumb in the very, very back of his hand. Bring everything up. His elbow is resting on my shoulder. The square of his arm is exactly what it needs to be. And I'm going to push up towards his thumb and down towards his pinky and see if his pinky will separate from his body. And it will.
The skin will hold it.
So, last but not least.
Just a little bit. Let me move this over real quick. Just get this off the camera. All right.
From my reinforced Kotick Adachi.
Oh, I don't like this one.
I keep everything twisted, pinky towards him. Elbow up nice and high, trying to turn the palm. I want him to wave to you guys on camera, so I'm turning everything towards the front, and then I'm just going to pull on the pinky side towards me just a little bit. As soon as he's bowing, he's done. Bring my finger in between the joints of his wrist. I'm going to be pulling down on that finger as I raise his hand up nice and high. Keep raising everything up, putting his elbow on my shoulder. Bend that hand back. My thumb is on the very back of his hand. And I'm going to pull down. We're going to spin this way just so you guys can see. I really am just holding on to his pinky and I'm pushing and twisting. I'll see there. A couple of points on the wrist lock flow. One of the reasons there are so many of them. One, any number of positions that you get into in the ground or in the fight, instead of having to say, I need to go to this position, there's a lot of ways that you may get their hand that it just sets up for one of these locks. The other thing that you'll find as you work with partners, especially as you work with different partners, there are certain locks on here that make me just want to scream because as soon as you're even thinking about setting them, I'm tapping. There's locks on here that don't really tend to hit the nerves very much. So you'll find everybody's nerves react at a different point. So this staging up of the locks allows your partner and you to find which ones are effective against different sizes, against different strengths, and finding ones that you just have an easier time working your way through, and everybody's going to have their favorite ones. So we're going to go through the whole 12 moves. All right. Number 1, Kotick Adachi, wrist crush. 2, Kotick Adachi. 3, reinforced Kotick Adachi. 4, Kotick Adachi unnatural. 5, natural. 6, Tekubi Dori. Fingers in. 7, fingers out. 8, another version of Kotick Adachi. 9, reinforced. 10, I'm not going to say it right, cast out. So turn everything, bend forward. 11, reel in. 12, finger. All right, so as you guys have seen, there's a lot of fun in these. There's a lot of when those nerves hit. One of the keys that you'll know you've got it, whether the partner may scream, they may tap, they may whatever, you'll always see those knees buckle when you really set them. That's how you can take somebody to the ground with every single one of these. So these can all be great self-defense moves. A lot of them are in our karate self-defense. We do a lot of Kotick Adachi and a lot of Kotick Adachi specifically. But there are some other ones. If you get into the one steps also and you start looking at the positions, they're all going to be in there. So they're a great thing for you guys to work. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. On Wednesday night, we are going to do a lot of ground drill work and a lot of core. And on Friday, we are going to specifically work on the scissor sweep. We have a great setup made up for that. This is going to be a lot of fun. We'd love to see you guys join us. It is possible, based on what I saw with Jay's class today, that we may bump this just a little bit, and we'll let you know if we are, because those of you who want to do the 6 o'clock class right into this one, we may give a little bit of cushion between them just to make sure that he has time to wrap up and you guys have time to get in here and get the full class experience. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Good night.